Man, I need to get some sleep. My stomach just won't leave me alone, though. It might have been that Taco Bell that ate. Or maybe it was the Takis. Well, since I'm up, I might as well watch some anime. Alright, what am I in the mood for? Let's see, Dragon Ball? Nah. I ain't trying to see some hands right now. Dr. Stone? Kinda, but I've already seen it. Oh, maybe I should watch a new anime. Black Summoner? I'll save that one for later. Isekai Harem Labyrinth? Nah, that man spends more time clapping furry cheeks than exploring the dungeon. Vermil Gold? I can save the mommy milkers for later, I think. I know. I'll watch Parallel World Pharmacy. Now, this show is one of those isekai titles that just bows out of the attack-style, over-the-top fantasy worlds, ultimately not wanting to challenge for the top spot of isekai. But I think my early pre-existing opinions of the show was wrong. Parallel World Pharmacy is a novel series started back in July of 2015 by Liz Takayama. You know that small city in Japan called Takayama? The city that's usually part of all those cool looking videos of walking in Royal Japan, giving you that feudal Japan vibe. Yeah, that's how you spell the name. Anyways, the story is about a world-class medical researcher losing his sister to a brain tumor due to ineffective treatments. So in honor of her memory, he spent his life dedicated to researching and developing new medicines, but he dies from overworking. Yeah, so ouch. The question I always wanted to know was he able to cure cancer? Was he able to stop the tumors or not? Cause if not, that kinda just sucks. Cause you spent your entire life trying to do that one thing, but you never got to try and finish that one thing. Kinda unfortunate. On the bright side, this 31-year-old man finds himself in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Falma de Medicis. Get it? For medicine? Son of an esteemed aristocrat who happens to be a royal physician. Pharma is marked with the deity's divine blessing, so he has unparalleled magical abilities. Get it? Allowing him to create and reduce any substance with knowledge of its chemical properties, with also having x-ray vision in one of his eyes that have a zoom-in feature. But did anyone else find it kinda weird? In order to access this godlike power, he has to do this weird thing with his fingers. I feel like you really don't need that, but who am I to question the gods? After reading through some of the pharmacology books, Falma recognizes that this world is operating on the same medical practices as they were in ancient times. He also learns that medicine is an exclusive privilege to the nobility, depriving commoners of proper medical care, with them instead relying on superstition and the word of the gods. Using the knowledge from his past life and the divine abilities granted to him, Falma uses his resolve to make medicine available to everyone, irrespective of any class. I like what the show is trying to do for the most part. The show isn't trying to be overly dramatic with having high stakes, and sure, the characters actually can have great action scenes, but it chooses not to use them all too much. But it would rather portray the few characters that they do introduce into the show and try to make them feel like actual people, giving them their own sense of belief system, giving them proper emotions, letting them be able to show themselves when they're scared, happy, sad, or angry, and show the different personalities of each of them while the story is progressing. The way the characters interact with each other appears just very naturally and gives you a good enough impression of who they are and what type of character archetype they're trying to represent. Like for example, the studious stern father that can come across as someone who is very close-minded, who in the past would treat his son rather harshly. You would assume the father would be the my way or the highway type of character, but he has the humility to admit if he's wrong and to let someone more qualified than him take control, who takes pride in being a caring doctor who's always looking out for the best interest of his patients. In general, the other characters alongside him are likable people who are just working hard and willing to lend a helping hand to Pharma, but this being because the boy first helped them when they weren't asking for it, when they were feeling pain and they didn't tell anyone until Pharma showed up and was able to fix their problem without having to make a scene for it. The trust the characters have in this anime is earned, so it makes what I'm about to say next a little odd, but I really do mean it and I hope you understand what I mean when I say it. The show feels fast, and you can decide for yourself how you feel about the pacing of the show. And I think it comes really more down to the actual writing of the show and not because it's being sped up. Like when I'm watching the anime, it doesn't go fast because the characters are just aging, but it feels like Pharma was given things rather quickly. And I don't mean the trust like I said earlier. I mean after treating the queen, he receives a medal, rightfully so though. He's then given our pharmaceutical shop, the one he's always wanted. That shop next becomes of course the best shop around. When the threat of the church comes or the Inquisition comes to try to arrest him or put him to death, he deals with them rather quickly, almost instantly, and they just happily become his followers. They even give him a staff fit for a god. The next chapter of the story, he's going to be able to cure the Black Death even afterwards. And then he beats an antagonist of another nation who's been hated for years by this country. And then he becomes the head professor at a college with Ellen, his once teacher. I guess I feel like he is being handed things just too much. Like, don't get me wrong, like I said, like he has amazing abilities and he did earn the trust to get to some point with the people, but to be just handed literally everything afterwards and there not to be any struggle or really any challenges, it makes the show a little harder to really believe and to really watch. Like, I think people will come back to see the fantasy world in general, but I would personally like to see more challenges that he would have to face that would take more than just one episode to just explain or to write off as he won, you know? To be honest, while watching Parallel World Pharmacy, I feel like I'm watching 6 different isekais rolled into one. Like, I feel like I'm watching The Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent, which is a vastly underwatched show by the mainstream audience, but is one that is loved by its target demographic, women. From a Western point of view, both leads have worked themselves to the point of self-harm in their past life. Finding themselves stuck in a new world, their goal ultimately is to help as many people as they possibly can using their power, but them both having an extremely kind nature. Both happen to be pharmacists, but to be honest, the romance in Saint's Magic was too much for me. I was practically barfing at some points. Like, I legit thought I was watching a Disney princess movie, which I can't watch more than one. Like, I can't do it, and definitely like not alone. It also feels a little bit like Dr. Stone, a show that most isekai fans know. The show is teaching us sciencey things while trying to make it a journey to get to every little ingredient along the way. It makes you think and remember how far as a society we've come by reminding us that a product wasn't solely made by one person, but each individual item had its own history or person that made it. A lot of trial and errors had to be done to get to that point. It wasn't just overnight success. It wasn't just one time. It didn't take one try to get it right. And that's the point I think Parallel World is missing. Parallel World Pharmacy is in collaboration with the official Japanese Pharmaceutical Association, but it doesn't show the full process or really go past the simple terms of the examinations and the treatments. Plus, like I said, Pharma just got everything handed to him like a spoiled rich kid. You would think with the kind of backing it was given, it would go a little bit more into detail. Maybe it should have been called to have 24 episodes instead of 12. All I'm saying is I don't have the same level of satisfaction when watching the show. It's like when Senku is literally putting his life on the line to get simply one piece of a puzzle, and then this guy over here just waves his hand around and he just magically just makes it. Going this route doesn't make me feel like the show can last very long. He's already done like everything. Like, what is there gonna be left to accomplish when he's 17, he's 30? Like, what's the end goal with these type of shows? How much world is there actually to the show? Like, Dr. Stone feels like he's in university while Parallel World feels like they're in high school or junior college, you know? That's just kind of the difference. By the grace of the gods. Both are 10-year-olds that have unmatched fighting potential, but would rather live boring lives, wholesome lives, making it more feel like a slice of life anime. Basically OP for no reason. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated into another world. The animation is similarly pretty good, both using what they were previously best at in their next life as a profession. Characters seem to be likable, they both seem to be understandable given the circumstances, with also very similar social classes. Drugstore, Another World, The Slow Life of a Chief Pharmacist. Now I hope World Pharmacy doesn't come close to this anime, with this being because it's too generic, there's no hurdles, mainly he's spending more of his time doing montage dances when he's mixing up his bullshit. The animation feels wacky, if not low budget, and the medicine itself feels pre-made like the show. I'm not learning how we got to this point, but the viewers being accustomed to this idea by the end of it. There's no sciencey thing about the anime. It's like sweet tea without the sweet part, but the audience telling the waiter to add some damn sugar to the tea, but he says, oh, we're all out. Both characters roughly acquire their dream job rather quickly, but at least in Parallel World, he still has to convince nobility and commoners to simply fuck with each other without the aid of the Empress. Now, the last comparison I would make is Ascendant of a Bookworm, which is an incredible paced show with interesting characters, with a secret plot that people are not paying attention to and won't know until a little bit later. Now, this is what I would like the show to simply become, another version of Bookworm, which is arguably one of the best isekais when you actually finish it. Both have adults in the body of children who have knowledge that would alter the way people would think and act in that world. Both are aiming to make something more accessible to all people. The problem that I highlight is that Bookworm is slowly nudging the audience along the journey, making small, almost non-existing steps until you're able to navigate freely. With Parallel World, it isn't rushing, but it does feel like it is skipping along. First, I'm learning magic as an apprentice, to then treating the Empress's disease. I then earn my own pharmacist shop that I own at the age of 10, while also trying to implement affordable healthcare. You see what I'm saying here? If that's not a hint to what I'm about to say next, I don't know what is. Parallel World is not bad, right? But it tries to do way too much, way too soon. I'd argue it has a lot of good qualities and directions since it laid out a worthy but difficult goal, mentioning a pretty interesting lore, but without diving too far into it. Like, we haven't touched really into magic like that. With memorable, albeit brief character introductions, Kizo Kusakawa is the main director who's also done Con Collection, Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoa, Ahiru no Sora, Dog Days, and Sekirei, which for reference points is completely different from what he's trying to make right now. Not to say those are bad animes, it's just the tone of those said animes are completely different, and if you watch them, you understand what I mean. With Parallel World Pharmacy arguably being his best work, you can argue that in the comment section, this is probably his best work. Wataru Watari is in charge of the scripting, which I would say is where I'll be giving most of the production credit behind, with him happening to be the author of Snafu, one of the best rom-coms of this decade, and Girlish Numbers, a show I have no idea is about, but I'm sure it's fine. And I lastly just want to do a shout out in terms of production to the author, with this happening to be her first anime, her first manga, light novel series with no prior experience beforehand, or no introduction or title to properly compare it to, with it already having sold over 2.3 million copies at the moment. I think my favorite chapter so far has to be when Falma's older brother comes back, and he takes the boy out for a normal duel that the two brothers would normally do. And what happens next is actually kinda awesome. Of course, Pharma wins, knocking out his brother, and you would think this rich older brother would be stereotypically an asshole, who would be spiteful and be plotting against his brother or do some other craziness like that. But no, he wakes up and congratulates his brother like a true sport. He's like, yeah, I got my ass beat, but good shit. The part's funny to me, but like I said, I like how they don't pigeonhole the older brother. They make sure to almost highlight his womanizing behavior and show his territorial and really just atrocious pharmaceutical practices that make him look incredibly bad-tempered, but still seem to stay in line with their father's beliefs, making a character that's able to toe this line. That to me shows how great the author can be at times. Simply put, I'm going to enjoy when they add in the big bad of the series, for right now, that both Pharma's dad and the Empress hate. I like how Pharma's gonna be able to cure this next big disease, but I would also like for them, like I said, to reduce the freaking power scaling a bit. I think this show actually has the potential to be a better isekai, with it already one of the top animes of the season so far. So this will leave off in today's video. If you liked the video, here's another one just like it, so go check it out. Now if you did like it, why not leave it a like? And hey, why not subscribe to the channel? I'll be uploading more content just like this one, so I'll see you next time.